Have you ever wondered why some men seem trapped, repeating the same mistakes, never growing, never changing? It isn't their circumstances or their enemies holding them back. No, their greatest adversary is closer, quieter, hidden in the phrases they repeat day after day, thinking they're harmless. But words are never harmless. They shape our reality, define our limits, and quietly decide our fate. Every single day, millions of men across America unknowingly sabotage themselves with words that sound strong, words that seem safe, but are actually chains forged from excuses and fear. You've heard these words before. Maybe you've even said them yourself. But every time you utter them, you give away a piece of your strength, your dignity, and your control. The ancient Stoics knew this all too well. Marcus Aurelius, the wise emperor himself, once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, and thoughts become words. Words become actions. Actions become destiny." In today's fast-paced America, with constant pressure to succeed, to fit in, to appear strong at all costs, it's never been easier to slip into habits that silently erode your character. Habits that masquerade as confidence but are truly rooted in weakness. In this video, we're going deep. We're uncovering 6 things a foolish man says, phrases that weaken your resolve, cloud your clarity, and drain your power. But we're not stopping there. We're replacing each destructive phrase with Stoic wisdom that can transform your words from weapons against yourself into tools of profound personal strength. If you've ever spoken and immediately regretted it, if you've ever felt a twinge of shame at your own words, then stay with me. This journey is going to challenge you. It's going to sting, but in the best way. Because growth isn't comfortable and truth isn't gentle. It's fierce, necessary, and deeply liberating. Welcome to True Stoic Way, where we refuse to settle for less than excellence, where we master the wisdom of ancient philosophers and apply it boldly to modern life. If you're ready to reclaim your words, your power, and your life, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop a comment below saying, "I choose strength over excuses." Now let's break free from the invisible chains holding us back and reclaim the profound power of our words. Because a wise man knows silence is powerful, but the words you do speak should echo with clarity, discipline, and purpose. Let's dive in. One of the most silently destructive things a man can ever say is, "That's just how I am." It sounds confident, doesn't it? It sounds definitive, strong even, like you're making a stand, owning your truth. But what if I told you that beneath the surface of this phrase is nothing more than quiet surrender, a subtle abandonment of personal growth and true strength? "That's just how I am" is not a statement of identity. It's a declaration of stagnation. It signals that you've decided to close the door on self-improvement, shutting out the possibility of growth, change, and evolution. It means you've stopped listening, stopped learning, and started settling. And in doing so, you trap yourself in an invisible cage built from comfort and excuses. Consider a man named Carl. Carl spent his life in the military, structured, disciplined, a man who commanded respect in uniform. But at home, behind closed doors, Carl refused to adapt, refused to change. When his wife asked him to open up emotionally, he replied sharply, "That's not me." When his children sought deeper connections, Carl retreated behind the worn-out defense. "I'm not built that way." Year after year, he repeated the same phrase, believing his stubborn refusal to change was a sign of strength. But gradually, silently, those around him stopped trying. His wife stopped seeking connection. His children stopped reaching out. And Carl, stuck in his self-made prison of prideful stubbornness, ended up isolated, respected from a distance, but deeply lonely in his solitude. Carl's story isn't unique. In fact, it's tragically common. Men all across America use "that's just how I am" to justify emotional unavailability, a lack of ambition, or even damaging habits. They mistakenly believe that refusing to evolve is the hallmark of strength. But the Stoics, those wise philosophers of ancient Rome, warned us otherwise. Seneca once wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live. These are simple yet powerful words that reveal a profound truth. Life never stops teaching you unless you stop listening. Growth isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Change isn't betrayal of your identity, it's the very process that refines it. A true Stoic man knows that strength doesn't lie in stubborn resistance to change, but in the courage to constantly become better. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and Stoic philosopher, understood this deeply. Despite his status, power, and experience, he never settled into complacency. His private journals, famously known as meditations, are full of relentless self-questioning, self-improvement, and self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius believed that true power lay not in rigidly clinging to outdated beliefs or habits, but in continuous, purposeful evolution. But why do so many of us cling to the phrase, "That's just how I am"? It's because it feels safe. Change is uncomfortable. Growth is often painful. Facing your shortcomings, acknowledging your flaws, and then having the humility and courage to improve takes genuine strength. It requires vulnerability, the very thing many men have been conditioned to fear most. Yet vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the cornerstone of true strength. When you admit that there are parts of you that need improvement, you take the first critical step toward growth. You break down the illusion that your identity is fixed, rigid, and unchangeable, and you embrace the truth. Your identity is something you actively shape every single day. Think about this carefully. If you say, "That's just how I am," you give yourself permission to stop trying, stop challenging yourself, and ultimately stop growing. You resign yourself to living in a small, self-constructed box, and over time, that box grows smaller, darker, and lonelier. But what if you rejected that phrase today? What if, instead of saying, "That's just how I am," you started saying, "How can I become better?" This simple shift could be transformational. Suddenly, every challenge becomes an opportunity. Every difficulty is a chance to refine yourself. You move from passive resignation to active participation in your own life. The Stoic approach is to never hide behind an identity. Instead, use every experience, every moment, as a whetstone to sharpen your character. The man who says, "That's just how I am," isn't strong, he's stuck. But the man who says, "I'm open to becoming better," is on the path to true strength, the kind of strength that commands respect, fosters meaningful connections, and creates lasting fulfillment. In America today, especially in a culture obsessed with immediate success and quick fixes, genuine self-improvement can seem old-fashioned. Yet the wisdom of the Stoics has survived thousands of years for one simple reason. It works. It's practical, it's profound, and it's undeniably powerful. So ask yourself honestly right now, are you using "That's just how I am" as a shield against growth? Are you hiding behind this phrase, quietly resigning yourself to mediocrity, emotional disconnection, or stagnation? Or are you ready to step into genuine strength, strength defined by continuous improvement, relentless learning, and courageous vulnerability? Rejecting this phrase doesn't mean rejecting who you are. It means embracing who you could become. Your potential is not limited by past habits or outdated beliefs. Your identity is not fixed. You are not static. You are dynamic, capable, powerful, and constantly evolving. If you've been using this phrase as a crutch, drop it today. Let it fall away like the outdated armor it truly is. And in doing so, you'll step forward, not into uncertainty, but into profound personal power. A power that comes from choosing growth over comfort, courage over convenience, and truth over illusion. And as we move forward from this powerful realization, consider deeply how another common phrase might be quietly sabotaging your emotional strength. How a seemingly innocent belief about masculinity and feelings could be undermining your inner resilience. Because true strength isn't found in silence, but in clarity, courage, and self-awareness. Let's explore this next vital truth together. 2. Real men don't talk about feelings. This phrase has echoed across generations, passed down like an heirloom, a misguided badge of honor. But what if I told you it has nothing but a disguise, a facade men wear to hide from their own truth? It's not strength, it's fear disguised as toughness. America today faces a crisis, one not discussed nearly enough. According to studies from the American Psychological Association, men who suppress their emotions face significantly higher risks of depression, cardiovascular disease, and even premature death. Yet many men continue to cling to this toxic belief that expressing feelings makes them less of a man. Why does this phrase persist so stubbornly? Because admitting vulnerability requires courage. Facing emotions demands honesty and self-reflection. Many men have been taught since childhood that showing emotion means showing weakness. But in truth, the refusal to acknowledge and express emotion is the real weakness. Consider James, a hardworking man from Ohio. A family man, reliable and always present physically but emotionally? James was absent. Whenever confronted with difficult emotions, he would retreat into silence, convinced that talking about feelings would diminish his strength. Gradually, his relationships with his wife and children grew distant, strained by unspoken tension and unresolved conflict. James believed he was protecting himself and his family, but in reality, he was isolating himself, building emotional walls brick by brick. Eventually, those walls became his prison, trapping him in loneliness and confusion, unable to truly connect or find peace. The ancient Stoics, far from advocating emotional suppression, emphasized emotional clarity. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoics, frequently journaled his fears, doubts, and pains, not to indulge them, but to understand them. He recognized that confronting emotions openly, honestly, and rationally allowed him to manage them effectively rather than be ruled by them silently. Emotional honesty isn't about losing control, it's about gaining it. When you refuse to acknowledge your emotions, they don't disappear. They simmer below the surface, manifesting in unhealthy ways like anger, addiction, or chronic stress. True strength lies in the ability to face your internal battles head-on, rather than burying them in silence. Stoicism teaches us to observe and acknowledge our emotions with calmness and clarity, then respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Emotions aren't enemies to be conquered. They are signals to be understood, guiding us towards greater self-awareness and deeper wisdom. So, if you find yourself believing the lie that real men don't talk about feelings, pause and reflect. Are you truly strong by avoiding emotion? Or are you quietly suffering beneath a facade of false bravado? If you're ready to embrace real strength, the strength that comes from emotional honesty, vulnerability, and true self-awareness, subscribe now to True Stoic Way. Here we reclaim genuine masculinity, rooted in clarity, courage, and in wisdom. Like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us, how has embracing emotional honesty changed your life? Because real men don't hide from feelings. They understand, express, and master them. Now let's continue to unravel these harmful beliefs. Next, we'll explore another common phrase that quietly erodes accountability and personal power. Let's dive deeper together. Throughout our exploration, we've uncovered 6 common phrases that seem harmless, yet quietly sabotage our strength, resilience, and potential. Words hold immense power. They shape our realities, influence our actions, and ultimately define our destinies. From passive resignation to entitlement, from emotional suppression to evading responsibility, each of these phrases represents not just words, but dangerous mindsets that weaken us subtly, invisibly, yet profoundly. But the wisdom of Stoicism offers a powerful antidote. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, these timeless philosophers taught us a profound truth. Real strength is rooted not in external circumstances, but in disciplined control over our thoughts, words, and actions. True power isn't avoiding reality, but actively and courageously embracing it. Remember, saying, "That's just how I am," limits growth. Declaring "real men don't talk about feelings" traps you in emotional isolation. Claiming "it's not my fault" erodes personal accountability. Believing "I deserve better" fuels passive entitlement. Insisting "that's not my job" fosters complacency. And whispering "it is what it is" transforms acceptance into resignation. Now imagine the transformative impact of replacing these harmful beliefs with empowering Stoic wisdom. Instead of resignation, active acceptance. Instead of entitlement, proactive effort. Instead of emotional avoidance, genuine clarity and honesty. Instead of blame, personal responsibility. Instead of limitation, continuous self-improvement. Instead of passive boundaries, proactive engagement. This isn't mere philosophy, it's practical wisdom, powerful tools you can apply immediately. You have the power right now to reshape your life simply by changing your words, your mindset, and your actions. So let's take this journey together. Subscribe today to True Stoic Way, where we apply ancient wisdom boldly to modern life, cultivating genuine strength, profound resilience, and lasting fulfillment. Like this video, share it widely, and leave a comment below. Tell us, which phrase have you decided to replace in your life starting today? How has adopting Stoic wisdom empowered you to reclaim your strength and potential? Together, we are reclaiming our words, our thoughts, our lives, one courageous step at a time. Welcome to True Stoic Way. Let's build lives of meaning, resilience, and genuine strength. 3. It's not my fault. On the surface, this phrase seems like an innocent attempt at self-defense, a simple clarification. But beneath this seemingly harmless statement lurks a deep and dangerous surrender of personal responsibility. When you repeatedly declare, "It's not my fault," you're subtly convincing yourself that you're merely a passenger in your own life, powerless to shape your destiny. Every day, countless Americans utter these words, placing blame externally, on circumstances, society, or other people. It's an easy way out, isn't it? By assigning fault elsewhere, you free yourself from the discomfort of facing your mistakes or shortcomings. But this easy escape has a hidden cost. It quietly strips away your power, your agency, and ultimately, your dignity. Take the example of Tom, a man in his late 40s from Texas. Tom faced setbacks in his career, struggled with personal finances, and experienced strained relationships. And every time things went wrong, Tom would default to his favorite shield: "It's not my fault." Whether blaming the economy, his bosses, his upbringing, or sheer bad luck, Tom systematically avoided accountability. Initially, shifting blame brought Tom temporary relief. It protected his ego and justified his struggles. But over time, this pattern of evading responsibility trapped him in a cycle of helplessness. He became reactive, passive, and increasingly bitter, waiting for circumstances to magically improve rather than taking proactive steps to change them himself. The Stoics had a clear response to this harmful mindset. Epictetus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, taught that men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. In other words, it isn't external events themselves, but your perceptions and responses to them that define your life. Marcus Aurelius further emphasized this, stating, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The core of Stoic teaching is the realization that true control lies within, how you choose to respond, adapt, and act. Instead of reflexively claiming, "It's not my fault," what if you began asking, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can I respond better?" Such a shift transforms setbacks into stepping stones, mistakes into wisdom, and obstacles into opportunities for growth. Accepting responsibility doesn't mean accepting blame for everything. It means recognizing that even when external factors influence outcomes, you always retain the power of choice. How you react, how you adjust, and what you decide to do next. Stoicism teaches us that every situation presents two paths, one of passive resignation and blame, the other of active responsibility and growth. The latter path isn't always easy, but it's profoundly empowering. It's the path that builds resilience, wisdom, and genuine strength. Next time you're tempted to say, "It's not my fault," pause and consider the alternative. Embrace ownership. Own your reactions, your decisions, and your future. Because the moment you accept responsibility, you reclaim your power. And with this powerful realization, let's delve even deeper, exploring another destructive belief that quietly corrodes character, an entitlement mindset disguised as self-respect. Let's keep uncovering the truths that build genuine strength. 4. I deserve better. This phrase seems noble at first glance, doesn't it? It suggests self-respect, ambition, and a rightful claim to a better life. Yet beneath this seemingly empowering statement lies an insidious danger: the quiet arrogance of entitlement. When you habitually say, "I deserve better," without action or accountability, you subtly adopt a mindset of passivity and expectation, waiting for rewards you haven't earned and outcomes you haven't worked toward. In modern America, entitlement is a widespread and seductive trap. It whispers quietly, telling us we are owed success, recognition, or happiness simply for existing. Social media and modern culture reinforce this narrative constantly. But entitlement, in truth, is a mask, one worn by those unwilling to face the hard, honest work required to achieve real growth. Consider Brian, a talented man from New York in his mid-30s. Bright, articulate, and full of potential, Brian had aspirations, but rarely committed fully to the disciplined effort needed to realize them. He frequently shifted jobs, each time claiming, "I deserve better than this," never quite satisfied, always feeling undervalued or overlooked. Initially, Brian's confidence appeared justified. He did indeed possess talent and intelligence. But over time, his repetitive declarations became hollow. He wasn't backing them with consistent hard work or genuine self-improvement. Instead, he blamed colleagues, employers, and external circumstances for his dissatisfaction. Eventually, this mindset drained him, leaving him cynical, bitter, and stagnant. Stoicism confronts this entitlement head-on. Marcus Aurelius reminds us clearly, "Do not waste time wondering what a good man should be. Be one." This powerful insight cuts directly to the heart of entitlement, exposing it for what it truly is: an empty expectation of rewards without effort. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own actions, not on external rewards. True dignity doesn't come from what we believe we deserve, but from what we actively cultivate within ourselves. The Stoic does not waste time demanding that life or others give him more. Instead, he quietly and diligently works to become deserving of better outcomes. Epictetus emphasizes a similar wisdom. First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. This simple yet profound truth dismantles entitlement by placing responsibility firmly back on the individual. You don't claim what you deserve. You earn it through dedicated, disciplined effort and continuous self-improvement. Reflect honestly. How often do you find yourself thinking or saying, "I deserve better," without genuinely working toward improvement? How many times have you blamed external factors for your dissatisfaction rather than taking the steps required to change your reality? Each instance of entitlement weakens your personal power, eroding your agency and quietly fueling a victim mentality. A life built on entitlement is a life built on shifting sands. True strength, genuine confidence, and lasting fulfillment come from knowing that you have earned your success through your own effort and discipline. Stoicism teaches us to pursue excellence for its own sake, to strive continually to become better, not because we expect a reward, but because self-mastery is its own profound reward. Imagine for a moment the alternative, a life free from entitlement. Picture yourself taking responsibility for every outcome, every success, and every failure. Imagine how empowering it would feel to know that your progress is entirely within your control, reliant solely on your dedication and discipline. This is the true Stoic path, one of active, continuous self-improvement, free from passive expectation. When you replace "I deserve better" with "I can become better," you ignite a powerful transformation. This subtle shift moves you from passive victimhood to active creator, from waiting for life to improve to actively improving your life. Each day, each choice, each effort becomes meaningful, purpose-driven, and deeply rewarding. So next time you catch yourself saying, "I deserve better," pause and reconsider. Ask yourself instead, what steps can I take to genuinely become deserving of better? Turn your entitlement into empowerment. Turn your complaints into discipline. And turn your passive expectations into active efforts that reshape your life. This Stoic wisdom isn't merely theoretical. It's deeply practical, applicable to every area of your life, from your career and relationships to your personal goals and aspirations. It offers a clear, actionable path forward, replacing empty entitlement with genuine self-respect and personal excellence. Now, armed with this profound shift in perspective, let's continue exploring another commonly uttered phrase, a phrase that deceptively encourages minimal effort and quietly corrodes true leadership and personal responsibility. Together, we'll expose and transform these harmful beliefs into empowering truths that foster genuine strength and lasting fulfillment. 5. That's not my job. At first, this phrase seems entirely reasonable, even responsible. It sounds like healthy boundary setting, a clear definition of duties and roles. But hidden beneath its apparent practicality is often a quiet refusal to take initiative, a subtle retreat into the comfort zone of minimal effort. When repeatedly uttered, "That's not my job," reveals not strength or clarity, but avoidance dressed up as professionalism. In the modern American workplace, the phrase, "that's not my job," has become commonplace, often embraced as a shield against perceived exploitation or burnout. And while it's important to set boundaries, habitual use of this phrase can quietly erode your ability to grow, lead, and positively influence your environment. Consider David, a technician working for a major tech firm in California. David was punctual, reliable, and consistently met his basic job requirements. Yet whenever asked to step slightly outside his defined role, to assist a colleague, to engage in cross-training, or to help tackle unexpected challenges, his immediate response was always the same: "That's not my job." Initially, David believed he was safeguarding his energy and professional boundaries, but slowly, subtly, he began isolating himself from opportunities to learn, lead, and build valuable relationships. Colleagues stopped approaching him for collaboration. Opportunities for advancement quietly passed him by, not because he lacked skill or intelligence, but because he consistently chose minimal effort over proactive engagement. Stoicism addresses this attitude head-on. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is your vocation? To be a good man." Notice he doesn't mention specific roles or job descriptions. He defines vocation not in narrow terms of obligation, but in broad terms of virtue, responsibility, and proactive engagement with life. The Stoics understood deeply that responsibility is not strictly limited by job descriptions. True responsibility, true leadership, extends beyond what's formally assigned. It includes anticipating needs, taking initiative, and contributing to the broader well-being of your community or workplace. Epictetus further emphasizes this, teaching that our roles and responsibilities extend far beyond narrowly defined boundaries. He believed that embracing responsibility and proactively engaging in challenges fosters growth, resilience, and personal fulfillment. Each time you say, "That's not my job," you subtly reinforce a mindset that values comfort over growth, ease over excellence. Over time, this mindset diminishes your potential, reduces your influence, and narrows your opportunities. Leaders and innovators never achieved greatness by strictly adhering only to what was written in their job descriptions. They stepped up, took initiative, and embraced opportunities, even when those opportunities required extra effort, risk, or discomfort. Consider the alternative path, the path of proactive engagement and purposeful responsibility. Imagine a career and a life where you routinely step beyond your comfort zone, embracing challenges and seeking ways to contribute more deeply. Picture the influence, respect, and personal fulfillment that comes from consistently going above and beyond, not because it's required, but because it aligns with your highest standards and values. In Stoic philosophy, fulfilling your highest potential requires embracing discomfort, responsibility, and continuous effort. Seneca wisely reminded us, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Your willingness to step beyond the bare minimum, to embrace challenges and responsibilities outside your strict job description, is precisely the friction that polishes your character and sharpens your skills. When tempted to retreat behind the phrase, "That's not my job," ask yourself a critical Stoic question instead. How can I positively influence this situation? How can I contribute meaningfully, even if it's beyond my formal role? This subtle yet profound shift in mindset transforms passive duty into active engagement, minimal effort into meaningful contribution. This mindset is not about taking on every task without discernment. It's about cultivating wisdom and choosing when and how to engage proactively. It's about balancing healthy boundaries with the courage to step up when needed, knowing each extra effort strengthens your character and influence. If you're ready to step beyond your comfort zone, to cultivate genuine leadership and deep fulfillment through proactive engagement, subscribe to True Stoic Way today. Here we explore practical Stoic wisdom that empowers you to grow continuously, embrace challenges courageously, and lead purposefully. Like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. What task or responsibility have you been avoiding because it wasn't your job? How will embracing it change your life? Together, let's continue the journey towards authentic strength and true self-mastery, guided by timeless Stoic insights that transform our potential into reality. 6. It is what it is. At first glance, these words seem stoic, even wise, an acceptance of reality, an acknowledgement of life's unpredictability. Yet beneath the surface lies something far less noble: resignation. When repeated frequently, "it is what it is" becomes more than just a phrase. It becomes a mantra of passive surrender, quietly eroding your willpower, ambition, and inner strength. Across America today, this phrase is commonplace, whispered in workplaces, homes, and conversations as a quick escape from discomfort. It's understandable, even appealing, to accept things you cannot change. But genuine acceptance is active, purposeful, and thoughtful, not a passive resignation. Consider Michael, a seasoned professional in Chicago. With years of experience, Michael faced numerous disappointments and setbacks in his career. Initially ambitious and driven, he gradually allowed frustration to shift his perspective. When challenges arose, he began to default to "it is what it is," effectively abandoning efforts to improve his situation. Over time, Michael's quiet surrender became habitual. He convinced himself he was simply accepting reality, but in truth, he had become passive, disengaged, and apathetic. Opportunities passed unnoticed, relationships stagnated, and his overall satisfaction declined. Without realizing it, Michael had transformed acceptance into resignation. Stoic philosophy confronts this subtle trap head-on. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The Stoics emphasized active acceptance, which differs fundamentally from passive resignation. True Stoicism is about understanding clearly what you can control: your responses, your mindset, your actions, and courageously engaging with life accordingly. Epictetus similarly advised, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Notice the key difference here. Epictetus doesn't encourage passivity, but purposeful action within your control. Accepting a reality doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing clearly the boundaries of your influence and decisively acting within them. When you repeatedly say, "it is what it is," you quietly convince yourself that nothing you do matters, that you lack the power to influence your circumstances. This belief erodes ambition, dulls your emotional engagement, and diminishes your capacity for meaningful action. Passive resignation becomes a silent killer of dreams, hope, and personal fulfillment. Stoicism teaches that true acceptance is far from passive. It's an active, intentional embrace of life's reality paired with decisive action where you can make a difference. Rather than resigning yourself to circumstances, the Stoic mindset asks, what can I control? What positive step can I take right now? Imagine the transformation if, instead of passively muttering, "it is what it is," you began asking yourself, "given this reality, what productive action can I take?" This simple reframing shifts you from passive victimhood to active creator, from helpless observer to purposeful actor. Active acceptance, the Stoic way, fosters resilience, courage, and clarity. It empowers you to navigate life's uncertainties with composure and confidence, fully aware of your limitations, yet decisively committed to your capabilities. This powerful mindset cultivates genuine inner strength, a strength rooted not in control over external events, but in disciplined control over your internal responses. Next time the phrase "it is what it is" rises automatically, pause and reflect deeply. Are you genuinely accepting reality or quietly resigning from your responsibility to act? Replace passive resignation with purposeful acceptance. Embrace your capacity to respond decisively and constructively. As we conclude this exploration, remember, words shape reality. Each phrase you habitually speak subtly molds your character, defines your mindset, and determines your life's trajectory. Stoicism offers timeless wisdom, practical tools, and profound insights to transform harmful habits into empowering strengths. It's time to reclaim your words, your mindset, and your potential. Transform passive resignation into proactive acceptance, not because you control everything, but precisely because you don't. The true Stoic way is clear-eyed engagement, disciplined action, and unwavering purpose, regardless of external circumstances. Let this clarity guide you forward, shaping each thought, word, and action into a testament of genuine strength and resilience. Throughout our exploration, we've uncovered 6 common phrases that seem harmless, yet quietly sabotage our strength, resilience, and potential. Words hold immense power. They shape our realities, influence our actions, and ultimately define our destinies. From passive resignation to entitlement, from emotional suppression to evading responsibility, each of these phrases represents not just words, but dangerous mindsets that weaken us subtly, invisibly, yet profoundly. But the wisdom of Stoicism offers a powerful antidote. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, these timeless philosophers taught us a profound truth. Real strength is rooted not in external circumstances, but in disciplined control over our thoughts, words, and actions. True power isn't avoiding reality, but actively and courageously embracing it. Remember, saying, "That's just how I am," limits growth. Declaring "real men don't talk about feelings" traps you in emotional isolation. Claiming "it's not my fault" erodes personal accountability. Believing "I deserve better" fuels passive entitlement. Insisting "that's not my job" fosters complacency. And whispering "it is what it is" transforms acceptance into resignation. Now imagine the transformative impact of replacing these harmful beliefs with empowering Stoic wisdom. Instead of resignation, active acceptance. Instead of entitlement, proactive effort. Instead of emotional avoidance, genuine clarity and honesty. Instead of blame, personal responsibility. Instead of limitation, continuous self-improvement. Instead of passive boundaries, proactive engagement. This isn't mere philosophy, it's practical wisdom, powerful tools you can apply immediately. You have the power right now to reshape your life simply by changing your words, your mindset, and your actions. So let's take this journey together. Subscribe today to True Stoic Way, where we apply ancient wisdom boldly to modern life, cultivating genuine strength, profound resilience, and lasting fulfillment. Like this video, share it widely, and leave a comment below. Tell us, which phrase have you decided to replace in your life starting today? How has adopting Stoic wisdom empowered you to reclaim your strength and potential? Together, we are reclaiming our words, our thoughts, our lives, one courageous step at a time. Welcome to True Stoic Way. Let's build lives of meaning, resilience, and genuine strength.